going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nannearl and this is Unpacked Angles with me, where we're focused on widening the perspective on all things UX and more. And today we're doing something completely different, y'all. We are switching it up. But before I get into that, have y'all seen Jake, my aloe? Man, when I first started recording in this location, Jake was super small, and now look at him. He is flourishing. He's flourishing for real. It's time for a harvest, but I am proud. I also have a money tree named Finn, so Finn and Jake, if you know, you know. But yeah, also, I have been getting a good number of questions from listeners asking some of the same things, and so I want to put together a Q&A episode. I'm not sure if I want to do it live or if I would just want to record it and do it regular, but it's gonna happen. And so I have a few questions from people that have asked me questions, and I want to encourage you, if you do have questions related to UX or anything that I've addressed on this channel, please feel free to send them my way. I've included a form in the description under the resources, or maybe I'll just put it in the regular description in this episode for people to go ahead and submit any questions or requests for topics that they want addressed in a future episode. So feel free, if you do have questions or suggestions for topics that you really want to learn more about, hit that link and let me know. But now let's get into what this episode is all about. So if you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and click the link for the YouTube video because this is going to be very visual. Earlier, when I was planning this channel and what I wanted to include in the different episodes, I have a portion that I wanted to dedicate to travel. I love to travel. I love to experience new things. And so what better way to do that than to go to different countries or different locations that I've never been to? And obviously that's not happening right now. COVID said nah, so we staying in the house. But I did go on a trip recently before the pandemic that I wanted to share with you all. Hopefully we'll be able to get more travel things in the future on this channel, but this is what we got for right now. So in December, I took a trip to Japan and had a day layover in Korea, and it was so much fun. I took the trip to spend time with family. My brother lives in Japan. My mom used to live in Korea. Since I'd never been to Japan, it was a totally new experience for me, and I was just very excited to jump right in. I would have loved to have done this like vlog style so that you all could be on the trip with me, but I also really wanted to live in the present and wasn't trying to be on my phone all of the time. So I have some videos, I have lots of pictures, so we're just gonna kind of piece this together and do it this way, and I think it'll work out. Throughout my time, I made note of a whole bunch of different experiences that had to do with UX and design that I'm gonna touch on all throughout this episode as I tell you about my trip. A lot of these things were really interesting to me, and I even wrote about it in a blog post that I published maybe a few months ago. So if you are interested in just reading about my experience, you can go ahead and hit up that post. It's in the resources. But here, I'm gonna give you a little bit more of a visual. Also, disclaimer. So I have this fascination with public restroom experience. I don't know how to explain it, but I just really enjoy taking pictures of bathrooms. I have a whole bunch of random pictures of bathrooms in my phone as we speak right now, some from all over the country for like places that I've been or traveled through. And so yeah, you're gonna see some bathrooms. I tried to hold back though. I'm not trying to give y'all too much of that. Also, I really love to eat. I love food. So there's plenty of food in this as well. So let's go ahead and get started on this trip down memory lane. Yeah, so basically this is how my trip to Japan started. Of course, on the plane. I flew from New York, so it was about 16 hours or something like that. And side note, y'all, I have severe flying anxiety. So I am usually very drugged up on planes. So that was the majority of my experience there. I was asleep most of the time, so it didn't feel like a super long flight. And the food was, of course, delicious. Something that stood out to me on the plane, though, were these cup holders and these tray tables. Like, I have been traveling for a while because I am a military brat, so I grew up just going all over the place. But these cup holders, though, like, have I just been traveling like a peasant my whole life. Like, I don't know. I had never experienced them before, but I loved them. They were super convenient, and you know, it's just the small things. But then we landed and I went straight to the bathroom, of course, where I was introduced to the bidet. Now, in this bathroom, there were plenty of instructions. And clearly this was made for people like me who have never encountered so many buttons in a bathroom before. The bathrooms were super clean. Like, I don't think I encountered one dirty, nasty bathroom in Japan like the entire time I was there, which was definitely a plus for me. But yeah, we got through customs and we made it to Tokyo. Very, very excited. My brother met us at the airport. He was the designated metro figure outer because I definitely was not about to try and navigate through. But even still, there were lots of directional signs, so I'm sure it's pretty easy to navigate and find where you need to go. Unlike Penn Station, I don't know if y'all have ever been to Penn Station, but every time I go there looking for Amtrak, I can never find it on the first try, and neither can the employees apparently that work there. But yeah, we made it to the train, got on the metro, and I saw this sign and snapped a photo of it because I thought it was a good explanation, very clear communication without like a need for words. And the same thing for this sign too, like there aren't any words on there that I can understand, but I didn't need to know Japanese to understand what that sign was saying. Then we reached our destination after a few transfers, and I snapped a pic of this vending machine. There are vending machines all over the place here, and I loved it. And I thought it was so cool because they have both hot and cold drinks. And so clearly, like, the hot is signified by the fire and the cold is signified by the little snowflake, and it was just very easy to just know what to do. And I got myself some tea, which was really cool because it came out hot in this bottle. I was like, yo, that's what's up. The labels here though are jam-packed, or it looks jam-packed to me. So I think the UX is definitely different in Japan. So I'm interested to know, like, is this good UX as far as for people who can actually read Japanese, or is it still kind of cramped? Let me know if you know how to read Japanese, or if like you're from Japan and you have more insight into this. I would love to know. Then we made our way to the hotel after the metro. And let me tell y'all, I love hot chocolate. I will drink hot chocolate any time of the day, any season, hot outside, cold outside, whatever, I'm drinking it. So best believe I was in the lobby getting the hot chocolate like at least 3 times a day because the hot chocolate was good. It was bomb. I always see elevator UX talked about, but this one was really easy to understand. One thing I noticed about Japan though, and the way things are designed for the most part, it's very efficient. Like, efficiency is a major focus. So I just thought that was really interesting. So like, for example, our hotel room was super small. There wasn't much space. It was like just what's needed. Also, like, this super slim phone, like, doesn't take up much space on the desk. And I thought this flashlight was really cool too, because you literally pick it up from the holder and it starts working, and when you want to turn it off, you put it back in there and it separates the batteries, and that's when it's off. I just thought it was cool. The bathroom, it was still kind of small too, pretty compact, but there was just enough space to just be in there and do what you needed to do. I'm pretty small, so it like was not a bother for me, but yeah. Also, something really convenient, the mirror didn't fog up all the way like when I was taking my showers. I'm sure there's like some chemical or something that you can do to your mirror to do that, but I had never had the thought to do that, I guess, but they had that in this hotel, so that was awesome. And then it was adventure time. First, I took a quick nap, and then I was ready to explore. We only had 3 days to explore in Tokyo, so we needed to take up all of that time. So first, we went to an arcade, which was a lot of fun. Of course, you know, they scam you into thinking that you can get things when you really can't. Old story, right? What's new about that? I still tried though and failed, but it was still a good time. I also had a lot of fun in this huge photo booth that we got to experience. Yeah, the pics came out a lot lighter and kind of touched up, so clearly this photo booth was not meant for people with my skin tone. But it was cool. Then we made our way to Shibuya Crossing, If you don't know, Shibuya Crossing is that huge crosswalk in Tokyo that appears, I don't know, in like movies, I guess, or people's videos. And so if you know about that, then this is that. It was actually not too bad. I don't like crowds at all, but even when crossing, like, it's a huge crosswalk. So I also don't know if that wasn't like the whole like massive group of people that normally crosses. Maybe that wasn't like rush hour, so who knows. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. Definitely was feeling Ayato Kirishima vibes here. If you know who that is, shout out to you and Tokyo Ghoul. Then we went to eat, where I fell in love with ramen. Oh my gosh, y'all, I don't think I've ever had ramen outside of like Top Ramen, like ramen noodles. So this was my first experience with ramen, and I'm not trying to ruin it by eating ramen here in the US. So if you know good places, let me know. They're probably on the West Coast, I guess, huh? But anyway, I was killing this, all right? Clearly it was not a game. I ate ramen several times while I was in Japan, so this is one of many. But after eating, my brother and I went on our own little adventure. My mom and my aunt did their own thing. And while we were on our way, we came across this like boat / submarine looking thing. It looks like it goes underwater, but I'm not really sure. It looked like something out of a James Bond movie, like for real, some futuristic type stuff. So if you know what that is, let me know. Yeah, so then we made it finally to go-karting, which is essentially Mario Kart, but not in Mario costumes because of copyright, I guess. Clearly here I was looking stressed, and that is because in Japan they drive on the left side of the road. They literally give you 15 minutes of, this is how you drive on the left side of the road, don't die. And I'm just like, okay. I didn't know if I was ready for real. I'll be running lights in DC because I forget that they're on the sides and not like normal where I can see them. So, but they let us out there anyway. We were out there in real traffic with real people driving real cars on the left side of the road, and we were out there for like a good 2 hours. So it was a lot, but it was cool. It was a lot of fun. We were with a fun group. The people who ran it snapped some really dope pictures of us. Out here in these Tokyo streets. Go-kart team takes a little excursion. We ended with a group picture, and this was definitely top 10 most fun moments of my life so far. I highly recommend it once the world opens back up again. If you go to Tokyo, I think there are a few different companies that do this. Look this up and make sure you have your international driving permit because they will not let you drive without it. But yeah, after Mario Kart, I found another vending machine. Hot chocolate, of course, got that. It was good, and I was drinking these up. Okay, every time I found a vending machine, I was looking for that hot chocolate. Then we went back up with my aunt and my mom at Shibuya, and this time we had the nighttime experience. So because it was Christmas time, we wanted to go back and look at how it lit up. I'm not sure if it actually is like this during other times of the year, but we wanted to experience it at night, so we did. And then our day ended. There were some signs that I noticed throughout that I really appreciated, and they were really simple but helpful for me because I kept forgetting that I needed to be on the left side while I was walking, even when I was driving low-key. But yeah, it was a helpful reminder to just walk and stay on the left side. The next day was dedicated to Disney, and it was raining, but I didn't let that stop my shine. I was having a lot of fun, and I was not about to ruin it. I never went to Disney World or Disneyland as a child, so my first time at Disneyland and California Adventure was like a couple years ago now, and that's the only place I've been to so far. So it was really cool to experience Disney here, and I want to experience Disney in like different places so that I can see, you know, what goes on in those different areas. But it was really cool. So the major difference I noticed was in the food. I was looking forward to churros. They didn't have none of those. They had popcorn, and the first time I got popcorn, I was really excited, and I started eating it, and I was like, yo, what is this? Turns out it was soy sauce flavored popcorn. But I was like, oh, okay, so it's like kind of local as to like what types of food they serve. So I thought that was cool, you know, just like in theory, but I didn't like that. But they did have other flavors, so I went ahead and got me some caramel popcorn and I was good with that. I also found other carbs to hold me over since they didn't have the junk food that I really liked. Because I don't think they had cotton candy either, and I was like, man. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, rode a lot of rides. While we were waiting in line for some ride, I can't remember, I noticed this thing on the rail, and it turns out that that's a place for you to rest your feet. Like, you can sit on that while you're waiting in line. America, do we have this? Because we need this. It was nice. Like, convenient. Oh my gosh, just thoughtful. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time at Disney. The atmosphere was amazing, of course. I mean, it always is. So the next day was filled with more adventures and more ramen, of course. So actually tons of ramen. But yeah. We took the metro to another spot, and y'all, some of the metro cars have heated seats, I realized. And that was clutch. But also, I will never again purposefully take the train during rush hour in Tokyo, because I had seen videos of people getting packed into, you know, metro cars or subway cars like sardines, and I don't know, I guess I didn't take that seriously or something, but that actually, like, no, that happens. Like, no personal space at all. It was such a change for me. I don't like being touched, like, period. So it was different. It was really different. I was stressed. Yeah, we made it to this area. I can't remember the name of it. All I know is that they had a whole bunch of comic and anime shops. So I definitely copped a couple of the day ones. Shout out to Inuyasha. Not the first anime I saw, but definitely the first one I fell in love with. But yeah, after that, we made our way to Diverse City Tokyo Plaza, which is basically this huge mall. And on our way there, I noticed this building. And I was like, yo, what is this place? Because it had some interesting architecture. It was really cool. So I snapped a pic. And apparently it's well known because of the architecture. Go figure. Turns out it's the Fuji television building. We walked down to the mall, and there was this life-size Gundam in front of the building. Oh my goodness. They were celebrating 40 years last year, and so just had signs everywhere talking about 40 years of Gundam. And I definitely used to watch Gundam Wing back in the day, and so it was really cool to see this thing where I had always just imagined what it looked like in real life to like just be there in real life. It was cool. It was like a fantasy or an imagination brought to life. Inside the mall, there is a whole Gundam base, and I did not know that this was a thing. And it's pretty huge. Like, people go there to buy Gundams that are already created, go there to buy Gundams, like parts in order to create them. There's like a whole room to build Gundams, and they're super intricate. So many different parts and details. I'm sure that it takes a lot to build. So like, respect to those people out there who are putting in the work and the time to do that. Then my brother and I came across this virtual reality experience, and I was so excited, but I also opted for the least scary looking one because yeah, I don't do scary shit anymore. I snapped a picture of the tickets that we got for it because I thought they looked really cool, you know, kind of mysterious. We also rushed over to Team Lab Borderless for their digital art exhibits. And y'all, we kind of had to rush through because we had a dinner reservation that we didn't even make. But if I could do anything different and go back in time, I would spend more time at this place. It was so amazing.
Wander, explore, and discover. Enjoy this borderless.
The exhibits were incredible. If it were not for copyright, I would let you hear the music that goes with everything because it is an experience. Like, if you engage in activities that heighten your brainwaves, I guess I would say do that before going because it is a voyage. This exhibit in particular was my favorite one that I saw. And here you can walk through the lights and you have to kind of keep moving, whereas there's this other area where you can just stand there just for viewing, and it was mesmerizing. I looked at them for like a good minute, and I really want to go back. If I could go back just for this exhibit, then I would, but it was like nature sounds for some of it and just like really ethereal. Like, I don't even know if that's the right word. It's just cool. I can go on, but I'm gonna stop. After viewing the digital art, we had to rush back to meet my mom and my aunt. We got lost on the way back and ran into whatever this is. Don't know what it was, but I thought it was cool, so I snapped a pic. We also ran into like this BTS meetup, I guess. I don't really know, but they were on the stage and there was a whole bunch of girls in the crowd. It was very random. I don't know if we were supposed to be there, but that was the end of our time at Diver City. And on the way back, my brother and I stopped by the Harajuku district really quick. I picked up a couple t-shirts and got some cotton candy and ice cream. It was cool. And that was the end of our time in Tokyo. We made our way back to the airport, of course, to fly north to where my brother lives. He lives in Misawa, and that's way like up north, northern Japan, near the coast. And so it's much colder there and they get a whole lot of snow. As we were heading to the airport, I thought this little conveyor belt was really cool, just like convenient for your luggage, especially since there weren't any escalators here. Of course, at the airport, I had to get some more noodles, right? Got some udon, love me some udon, plus this melon Fanta. Let me tell y'all, this drink is addictive. I don't know what's in it, but either the amount of sugar or like whatever drugs in there, it's amazing. It makes it taste really good. I don't even drink soda like that, but I was drinking this drink. Thank goodness that they don't have it here, because I would be in trouble. But anyway, we took off to get to Misawa and had a nice smooth plane ride. It was very short, and of course I was a little drugged up, but we got there smoothly, and once we landed, it was very clear that we were not in Tokyo anymore. This was a much more rural, I can't say it, a much more rural place, and there was snow on the ground and it was so much colder, but there were plenty of vending machines still, and I was happy about that, you know, priorities. Our first stop was this sushi place where the robot helped check us in. I'm not sure what it was saying, but my brother handled that, so it was good. And here, it was so cool. Like, I think I've seen conveyor belt sushi places before in the US, but this was my first time actually experiencing it, and I'm glad I got to experience it here. You put your order in, and it makes its way out to you on this conveyor belt. And what was really interesting about this was that it knew when your order was about to be at your table.
Your ordered item.
So I found myself really trying to deconstruct how that all worked. It's just like, how does it know like when it's getting to me specifically? I still don't know. I'm still wondering about it. But yeah, I loved this place, okay? I actually ended up coming here again. We went twice so that I could overeat both times. So clearly I demolished this food. But then I ended up catching a cold, so I had a fever for a couple of days, but my brother's dog Miko kept me company. I just chilled at the house, looking rough, and binge watched Star Trek Discovery. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. I've heard mixed reviews from other people, but I loved it. Then I got better and was ready to explore some more, so I snapped a pic of this vending machine because it was the first touchscreen one that I saw, and got some peach Fanta from it. It was good, but the melon Fanta is still in first place. We went to this really basic store, but I loved every single moment of it because there were so many cool, interesting things, and I wish I could have just lived in the area for a little bit so that I could have tried them all. But one of the things that I thought was really dope was this portable humidifier. I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool, and it's cute. I actually ended up getting it. We went there again and I ended up getting it. It's right here. So clearly I have not taken it out of the package. Eventually I probably will, but you know, I haven't wanted to use it yet. I just want to like cherish it. Then we made our way to a mall, and it was different in a few ways from like malls that I'm used to, I guess. But in a store that was in the mall, it had this decal on the floor to help you get the correct sized carpet, which I thought was just very convenient. Again, like one of those small things. And then we ended our mall trip with a trip to Baskin Robbins, and it was good. But yeah, after that we hit up an arcade where I got scammed again a couple of times, but you know, it was still fun. And my brother and I played some Mario Kart, and we also piloted a Gundam. So there's this one game where you can be a Gundam pilot, and it was really cool because it was immersive, so you had to buckle yourself in and everything because the whole seat moved. It was pretty dope. And we stopped by a park which had this cool like branch roof that I liked, and so I snapped a picture with it. I would love to see what that looks like during the summer months when everything has blossomed. But then we drove by a place with more Gundams and the creator here just like makes Gundams, and you can literally go there and buy a Gundam and just have a Gundam in your front yard, I guess, which sounds kind of intriguing. The next day was Christmas, and we ended up starting our day with going to the beach. There was a tower with this gorgeous view that I took full advantage of. And it was just a nice time chilling here with the family. Then we killed some time at another anime / comic shop, and they had so much My Hero Academia merch. Like, it was just wild how much they had. And my favorite character in the anime is Aizawa, so like their teacher, Eraserhead. And there was just no love for him. The only thing I found was this, and nah, that was not cutting it for me, so sad. Then we went to go see some lights, and it was beautiful, of course, because it was Christmas time, and there was barely anybody around, so that was a plus, and everything was just really pretty.
And it just started snowing again.
We got to enjoy our time there and take pictures. And then we ended the day with dinner, and we went to a curry place. And this is where I fell in love with Japanese curry. Look, I'm Jamaican, so I know Jamaican curry, and I've had Indian curry before, and I've had Thai curry before. The Japanese curry was new for me, and it was so good. Then the next day we went on a road trip. So much fun. We went on a road trip to Lake Tawada, and it had snowed a lot the night before, so we had a whole road of snow. And it seems that the plowing here is top notch because we had no trouble really just being on our way. But on the way to Lake Tawada, the views were gorgeous. As you can see, it felt like this was something straight off a postcard. Like, this is where people come to take pictures for postcards, literally. Like, that's what it felt like. Lake Tawada is a lake that formed in the middle of a crater, and so they have like a nearby shrine and then a national park, but we didn't get to see too much of it since it was really snowy, but you'll see it a little bit later once we pass it. But on the way up to Lake Tawada, we stopped to admire this gorge, which was just so beautiful.
It's cold. We're out here. Where are we at?
Lake Tawada.
Lake Tawada. I don't really know if we're there yet, but Orase Gorge. Orase Gorge. Orase Gorge. That's where we're at right now. It's cold. I don't have my jacket on. I probably should, but I was hot in the car, so I'm good right now. But hopefully you guys can see the background. We're making it. It is a trek up this mountain. I guess he's not answering me. But yeah, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna move before one of the trees decides to offload a ton of snow on my head. So on we go. Let's see. The snow's deep. I gotta follow my footsteps back. Oh shit! This is not funny. What does my butt look like?
It's all snowy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had snow all up in my ass. Beautiful. It was really just a winter wonderland. Here you can see Lake Tawada. It was really too much snow to do much of anything, but it was really cool to see, so it's a pretty nice day trip. Then we needed a bathroom break, and of course, I had to record what was good with this bathroom, seemingly in the middle of nowhere. And again, of course, it was sparkling clean. This little umbrella hook I thought was really cute. A nice little ad. As we were leaving, going back, our timing was perfect because it definitely started snowing while we were driving. But yeah, that was the end of our time in Misawa, which was spectacular. It has spectacular sunrises and sunsets. And before leaving Japan, my aunt, mom, and I stayed at this hotel that had kimonos. I'm not sure if I put it on right, but I was feeling myself a little bit. So we left Japan, and my mom and I had planned a one-day layover in Korea because we both love Korea. I thought it was really interesting to see this gamer remote on the plane. I had never had one of those before, so that was new for me. I really wasn't feeling the keyboard section though. It was like too many buttons. We landed and I ate, of course, and the food at the airport was hitting. I love a good bulgogi hot pot. I really do. We made our way to Seoul to stay the night and then explore a little bit in the morning before our flight. So the next day we went to an area that reminds me of Santee Alley in LA. So it's basically like a big swap meet where you can get souvenirs and clothes and food and other things. My mom used to live in Korea, so she basically knew where to stay the night and knew some of the spots, so it wasn't really hard for us to really get started or get on our way. This day was also 28 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was so cold, and we did not last too long outside, but I definitely had time to eat. This is a picture of us standing in front of these party decorations that they were having. It was New Year's Eve. The bros were throwing a New Year's Eve party. Of all things, and I was like, dang, this party looked like it's about to be lit. I was so sad that we had to leave. They had a whole Henny menu. Like, what? That joint was about to be popping, like, for real. If you don't know the Bruz, it's Omega Sci-Fi Fraternity Incorporated, a historically Black Greek letter organization. Just FYI if you were confused, but yeah, they were throwing this party. We missed it. We headed back to the airport, and this is my all-time favorite airport like in the world right now. It is huge, it is clean, it has great food, and there's always something going on. There was also this robot that was going around taking pictures with people. That was interesting.
The end of my trip in the airport right now. Yeah, the trip was really good, and I am ready to get back home to get into my bed, but I had an amazing time, and I'm excited to share with you guys a whole lot of good experiences. Overall, it was a good trip.
Yeah, that was my trip. I had a great time reminiscing, especially now that we're all kind of stuck and can't go anywhere like we normally would like to do. All many of us can do right now is pretend. So it was nice going through and pretending I was back there. So I hope you enjoyed going down memory lane with me. My parting question for you is, what are some of your thoughts on the UX things that I mentioned throughout my trip? I would love to hear your opinion. And also, before we close out, don't forget to send me any questions or topics that you want to see me talk about on this channel. And of course, if you enjoyed what you heard or saw today and you're down for this ride, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well to be notified every time I post new content. I post every other Wednesday. And be sure to sign up for the newsletter that comes out every couple weeks too. You can sign up for the newsletter on the website at www.unpackedangles.com. We're also on social media, so if you want to hit us up there, we're at Unpacked Angles on Instagram and Twitter. That's a wrap, y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful week, wonderful day, whatever you're doing. I hope it goes great. As always, let me know what you're doing, what you're working on, what you got going on. And until next time, y'all, deuces.